ओके चलिए हम क्लास स्टार्ट करते हैं आज की. लेट मी. The topic of today's class is signal transduction and mechanism of signal transduction in cancer specifically. So, what are the main objectives behind the signal transduction, behind the study of the signal transduction mechanism in cancer cells? The first objective is to understand the basic concept of signal transduction. The second one is to learn the mechanism underlying cellular signaling, and third one is to learn how aberrant signaling leads to cancer. And the last one is to appreciate attempts and challenges in targeting signaling pathways for cancer therapy. So the main objective are to how we can exploit the mode of signaling by understanding the signaling um, in the cell and the mechanism behind the excess cellular proliferation due to signal transduction event, and and exploit this mechanism to stop the cell growth and to design the therapy against the cancerous cells. So this is again a very famous diagram from Hanan and Weinberg et al., which is the revision of hallmark of Cell paper published in 2011 in Cell Journal, and according to this, the main hallmark of cancer cell is sustaining proliferative signals, as we studied yesterday, and evading growth suppressor mechanism, activating invasion and metastasis into the surrounding tissue, and enabling replicative immortality, which makes cell more aggressive and vigor to invade the surrounding normal cells. And the other hallmark is inducing angiogenesis and resisting cell death. So what are the developmental characteristics actually in terms of metastasis in human colorectal cancer? It is just an perspective which you could find in Lodish et al. Molecular cell biology. Here it is for colorectal cancer. This is the normal colon cell, which when lost APC, tumor suppressor gene function, which this APC gene lies on chromosome 5, and when this tumor suppressor gene function get lost, it activates KRAS oncogene, which present on chromosome number 12, and which consequently causes loss of DCC tumor suppressor gene, which is present in chromosome number 18, and this loss of DCC tumor suppressor gene consequently causes loss of P53, another well-known tumor suppressor gene, which is present on chromosome number 17, and these I can say these multiple inactivation or loss of function of tumor suppressor gene will lead to the other changes, which causes the proliferation of cells and lead to the colorectal carcinoma. Here you can see in parallel diagrams that a polyp, which is just a small growth. Polyp forms on the colon wall. Initially, it is benign and precancerous tumor growth. A class second, it belongs to the class. Then it belongs to the class second adenoma, and then consequently it progress and converted into class third adenoma. And this adenoma, consequently, due to these loss of tumor suppressor gene, become a carcinoma, a malignant tumor, which further grows and causes colorectal cancer. So this is just a genetic basis behind the colorectal cancer. And what is the basics of signal transduction in cancer cell? There is First, we should know about what is signal transduction. Signal transduction is the process of converting extracellular signals into the cellular response. So, how it works? How signal transduction works? Actually, signal transduction was initially viewed as a collection of linear information transporting pipelines. Now we know that pathway crosstalks enable signals to propagate through a tangled network of interconnecting networks and cascades. And these cascades would further work together to perform a particular type of activity inside the cell. Recent findings from genome research reveals a new problem. There are few genes uh, which are responsible for biological processes, and there are fewer other genes which are responsible for signal transduction cascades. Spatiotemporal control is an important means by which signal transduction is regulated. So, mm, uh, to understand the signal transduction mechanism, human genome maps helps a lot. The latest count of number of genes in the human genome is 19,000, and many of these genes can make multiple proteins each. These genes constitute 1.5% of the entire genome. As you all know that only 90 approximately 98% of our genome remains silent in the form of heterochromatic region, and while only 1.5% genome is expressed into the protein, and it is known as euchromatic region. And in the genome, various non-protein coding RNAs, regulatory DNA sequences, lines, signs, introns, and sequences of unknown functions, they are present. And they actually, peoples are just trying to understand the function of these non-protein coding RNAs, lines, and signs. And many of them acts as an important marker to study the human genome. As per the human proteome mapping, there are 18,097 proteins in human cells. And this is the overall view which is taken from the Hannan et al. Paper from Hannan et al. Have published their paper in 2000. In year 2000 in Cell, and this is the integrated circuit of the cell. You can see that inside a cell, hundreds of activities are simultaneously carried out. Okay, like if you can start from right hand corner, you can see that anti-growth factor, that is TGF beta, transforming growth factor beta, when it binds to the TGFR beta receptor of the cell, it starts the binding of the ligand to the receptor, starts downstream signaling cascades, which in turn generally initiated by SMADs, a protein factor which ultimately activates P15, P27, and P21. And P21 can also be regulated by P53, a well-known tumor suppressor gene. And these all P15, P27, P21, and P53, they along with certain kind of cyclin E and cyclin dependent kinases, they regulated the cell cycle, cell proliferation, and cell proliferation. And as you know that for cell cycle, changes in many gene expression would occur simultaneously to fulfill the need of dividing cell. So here you can see that many pathways interact simultaneously with each other, and then we can see the changes in gene expression. This is not a linear pathway, this is a highly complex pathway. Here retinoblastoma causes retinoblastoma actually blocks the E2F transcription factor, which is which is responsible for the gene expression. You can see that another pathway on the lower right hand corner, which is phase dependent pathway. Phase is death ligand. It binds to, generally phase L is a death ligand and death factor. It is responsible for the phase dependent extrinsic apoptotic induction of phase dependent extrinsic apoptotic pathway. When phase ligand binds to the phase receptor, it activates downstream phase associated death domain, FADD, and this FADD activates, when it activates, it activated further caspase 8, and caspase 8 would lead to apoptosis. This apoptosis, this is just an extrinsic pathway. This apoptosis could start inside from the mitochondria also. In mitochondria, as you all know, that there is a pro-apoptotic and anti-apoptotic factor, BAX, BAD, BID. They actually stimulate mitochondrial inner cytochrome C, and these inner cytochrome C activates caspase 9 and caspase 3, and in terms it is activated the intrinsic cell death pathway for apoptosis. And this is actually the picture behind the scene, that when a dividing cell lost the cell cycle control and a tumor suppressor gene get activated and it wants to stop the cell division, then it starts either extrinsic or intrinsic cell death pathway to kill that cell, so that further division and proliferation could be stopped. But failure in these regulatory phenomena, like in apoptosis and other tumor suppressive function of genes, would lead to the excessive gene expression and excessive cellular proliferation, which ultimately causes cancer. So this is just a half scene of a mechanism lying inside the cell. The other half, we can see that by studying the left hand side of the picture. Here you can see that there are simultaneously 6-7 receptor pathways which are going on to just stimulate the gene expression and division of the cell, which in terms of division of the cell, so how they work, we can see that the WNT, a Frizzled receptor, a ligand for Frizzled receptor, bind on the Frizzled receptor and causes deshelving and activation of a GSK kinase 3 beta, which activate APC, and APC ultimately activate beta catenin. Beta catenin can also be activated via E-cadherin pathway, and this E-cadherin, when it activates beta catenin, they along with TCF causes changes in gene expression. Similarly, when ECM binds to the integrins, they activate the CDC42, and CDC42 activate PI3 kinase, then RAS, and then JNK. JNK activates Jun, a transcription factor, and it causes changes in gene expression. Another well-known pathway is receptor tyrosine kinase pathway, RTK pathway, where growth factors like transforming growth factor alpha binds on these receptor tyrosine kinase, and binding of this ligand to receptor will lead to the activation of GRB2 source factors, and they in turns activate RAS, RAS activate RAF, RAF activate MAP kinase, MAP kinase to MAP kinase kinase, MAP kinase kinase to MAP kinase, and this ultimately activated FOS, a transcription factor, which binds on the particular gene of interest and causes its excessive expression. Similarly, these pathways are also interlinked with integrins pathway and other pathway, downstream pathway, like bombacine, a factor which is bind on 7-TMR receptor and causes activation of G protein, and then adenylase cyclase, and which in turn activate protein kinase A, and protein kinase A activate CRAB. CRAB binds to the gene site and causes its expression. The other pathway is other receptor tyrosine kinase dependent pathway is IGF-1, that is insulin growth factor 1 dependent pathway. If IGF-1 bind to the RTK receptor, it activates RAS, and RAS activates downstream signaling cascade, and via these signaling cascade, ultimately gene expression occurs. Similarly, there is another pathway, cytokine receptor pathway, where cytokines such as interleukin 3 or 6 binds to the cytokine receptor. This binding of cytokines to the cytokine receptor causes activation of JAK. JAK activates STAT, and state activates state 3-5, which goes into the nucleus straight and binds to the gene of interest and responsible for its expression. If any kind of failure occur in the right hand side pathways, then it would lead to the activation of apoptotic mechanism, and it will lead to the cell death. And failure in the apoptotic mechanism of the cell would lead to the excessive growth of cells, and this excessive growth of cells later transformed into the cancerous conditions. So I hope you all get some useful insight with this important slide, which shows the integrated circuit of the cell. So what mechanism lie behind the signal transduction? There is actually the ligands, which are primary messenger